Students, welcome to the video session of Class 10 Science Chapter 2 Life Process. Let us first see the learning objectives of this video session. So, we are going to discuss the nutrition in humans, human digestive system, alimentary canal and digestive glands, digestive juices, enzymes, then the various components of the alimentary canal and the assimilation of the digested food. That means in the complete session we have to discuss about human digestive system as a whole. So let's begin with the first slide now. That is nutrition in human beings. Okay. We all know that human beings are heterotrophic in nature. They cannot synthesize their own food and therefore they depend on other living organisms for their food. Now, in humans, the human digestive system consists of alimentary canal and the digestive glands. Alimentary canal is a long tube with varying diameter starting from mouth to the anus. Means alimentary canal is a long tube but it has different diameters at different places. Like it starts from mouth and then it comes to buccal cavity, then esophagus, then stomach, then small intestine, then large intestine. This is a complete one single tube, but it has different diameters at different places. Like the diameter of esophagus is different and the diameter of stomach is totally different. So it is a long tube with varying diameter, but it starts from mouth and it ends at anus. Now, it consists of several organs. Like alimentary canal has several organs, and these different organs combine together and they form the alimentary canal. So, let's see the diagram of the human digestive system. This is the complete diagram of human digestive system. We'll start from mouth here. So, you can see the mouth here, and then it is the buccal cavity inside, that is the space inside the mouth area is the buccal cavity. Then here you can see the salivary glands, then esophagus, stomach, then the two glands, liver and pancreas, then small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and then anus. So these are all the different components of the alimentary canal which we are going to study further in the session. So let's begin with. Now, let us study the organs of the alimentary canal. Okay. So the first organ or the first component of the alimentary canal is mouth. Okay. So mouth is nothing but the opening of the alimentary canal. Okay. It is the opening from where the alimentary canal opens. Now this opening is guarded by two lips. As we all know, we all have, all the humans have two lips. So this mouth is guarded by two lips and it opens into a chamber, or you can say it opens into a space which is called the buccal cavity. As you can see in the diagram here, this complete space inside is called the buccal cavity. Okay. So how we'll define the buccal cavity? It is a large space which is bounded by palate above. So in the diagram here you can see the palate upside. Okay, this is the palate. This is the roof of the buccal cavity is known as the palate. Okay, so this space is bounded by the palate above. Then below there is the throat area. Okay, then on the sides jaws are present. These are the jaws. Okay, this is the lower jaw and this one is the upper jaw, and it is clearly seen, or it is clearly known to all of us, that upper jaw is immovable as it cannot be moved, but the lower jaw is movable. Okay, so when we speak, when we eat, only our lower jaw is moving but the upper jaw is fixed at its place. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide and have a look on the teeth which are present in the buccal cavity. Now, we have discussed about the jaws. We have two different sets of jaws. One is upper jaw and the lower jaw. So, jaws have teeth which help in chewing and speaking. This is the function of the teeth. The teeth help in chewing the food, mixing the food well with saliva, and teeth also help in speaking the words clearly. Okay? So, there are two sets of jaws, upper jaw and lower jaw. Upper jaw which is immovable and lower jaw which is movable. Now, let's discuss about the different types of teeth present in the buccal cavity. Here in the diagram also you can see that there are four different types of teeth which are present in humans. First one is incisor, then canine, then premolars and molars. Incisors are also known as the biting teeth, and the total number of incisors is 8. That means 4 in the upper jaw and 4 in the lower jaw. Then the second diagram is of canines. Canines are the tearing teeth. They help in tearing the flesh or the food. The total number of canines is 4, that is 2 in the upper jaw and 2 in the lower jaw. Then premolars, this is the structure for premolars, and if you see the upper surface of premolars, there the surface is more comparative to canines and incisors. And if you see the structure of molars also, they have more open area, more open space here on the upper side, so that the food can be grinded easily. And henceforth, premolars and molars are together called the grinding teeth. The number of premolars is 8 and the number of molars is also 8. That means 4 in the upper jaw and 4 in the lower jaw. In the diagram downside also you can see this is the upper jaw, this is the lower jaw, and the arrangement of the teeth in the jaws. Okay, and this is the palate here. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide and see the further organs of the alimentary canal. Now in the buccal cavity, one gland is present which is called as the salivary glands, which you can clearly see in the picture given here. These are the salivary glands. They are present near to the throat area below the ears. Okay? These are the salivary glands shown in the diagram. So salivary glands are the glands which are present in the throat region below the ears on both the sides. Then I want to mention here that gland is nothing. Gland is the special type of cells which secrete some special substances which help in digestion or which help in other metabolic reactions. Okay. Then this salivary gland secretes saliva. Saliva is the liquid which is present in the mouth. Okay. So these glands will secrete the saliva, and this saliva secreted by these glands will come in the buccal cavity with the help of some tube-like structures which are called the salivary ducts. Okay. Now this liquid which is present in the mouth or the saliva, it has an enzyme present in it. Okay. Enzymes are the substances which increase the rate of reaction going on in the body. Okay. So saliva has the enzyme which is called ptyalin or salivary amylase. Okay. So salivary amylase is the enzyme present in saliva. Now let us discuss what is the function of salivary amylase. Salivary amylase converts starch into maltose sugars. Okay. So we can say that digestion starts in the mouth itself. Okay. Digestion starts in the mouth itself. Then in this picture here you can see the structure and chemistry of salivary amylase. It looks like this. Okay. It's an enzyme. Fine. Now let's move on to the next slide and see the further organs of the alimentary canal. Now we have finished up with mouth and buccal cavity. Now the next one, third organ of the alimentary canal is the pharynx. You can see in the diagram here, this is the pharynx. So it's a funnel shaped canal which serves as, only function of pharynx is to pass the food from buccal cavity to the esophagus. So it's a connection between the buccal cavity and the esophagus, and it only helps in the passage of the food from buccal cavity to esophagus. Okay. Now, let us move on to the next organ, that is esophagus. This is the food pipe or the esophagus which you can see in the picture here. It's a tube-like structure. Okay. So, how to define it? It's a long muscular and tubular structure to carry the food from pharynx to the stomach. So, what is the function of esophagus? It just passes on the food from pharynx to the stomach. Okay. But a very important word here which we have to discuss is peristaltic movement here. Okay. The question also comes in exams. What are peristaltic movements? So peristaltic movements are the contraction and relaxation movements of the muscles of the food pipe to push the food forward. Okay. Now as we have discussed here that esophagus is a muscular tube. Okay. That means the walls of the esophagus are made up of muscles. So muscles have the function of contraction and relaxation. They show the movements with the rhythmic contraction and relaxation. Okay. So this contraction and relaxation of the muscles of the food pipe helps in the movement of the food from upside to downside. Okay. So how the food passes through the esophagus? The food is passed down to the stomach with the help of peristaltic movements of the walls of the esophagus. Okay, and peristaltic movements are nothing but the contraction and relaxation of the muscles of the food pipe. Okay, now let's move on to the next organs of the alimentary canal. Now the next important organ of alimentary canal is the stomach. Okay, you can see the picture here on the screen. Stomach is C or J shaped. In some of the books you will get U shaped, C shaped, J shaped. It varies along with the on which from which angle you are observing the stomach. Okay, so any shape you can write down. It's either you can write C or J shaped. Muscular. Okay, it is also made up of muscles. So muscular sac present on the left side of the abdomen. Abdomen is the part below the chest region. So it is present on the left side. Stomach is a small bag-like structure which is made up of muscles, and it is present on the left side of the abdomen part. Now, partially digested food. Why it is written here partially digested? Because the digestion has started in the mouth. So now the food which is coming to the stomach is partially digested. So that partially digested food reaches in the stomach for further digestion. Okay. Now, it is important to note here that the inner walls of the stomach secrete three important substances. Okay, so let us discuss which are these three important substances. So first one is HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. So the walls of the stomach secrete HCl, hydrochloric acid. And what is the function of this HCl here? This HCl will create acidic medium in the stomach which is necessary for digestion. Okay, and the second function of HCl is to kill the bacteria or the germs which are present in the food. Okay. Now, next substance which is secreted by the walls of the stomach is mucus. Mucus is a jelly-like substance which protects the inner lining of the stomach from the effect of HCl. Now, HCl is an acid. It can damage the other cells of the stomach. So, who is going to protect the other cells of the stomach? Okay. So, mucus is the substance which will protect the inner lining of the stomach from the effect of the acid. Now, the third substance released by the wall of the stomach is pepsin. Pepsin is an enzyme, and the function of this enzyme is to convert proteins into amino acids. Amino acid is the simpler form of protein. So, when the proteins will break down, they will come into amino acid structure. Okay? So, pepsin will convert proteins into amino acids. And all these three substances together are called gastric juices. Okay? We can use one word for all three of them, that is gastric juices. Stomach secrete the gastric juice. And what does the gastric juice contain? Gastric juice contains HCl, mucus, and pepsin. Fine. Now, let's move on to the next organ. Now, the next organ is small intestine. You can see in the picture very clearly the red colored portion showed in the diagram is the small intestine. Okay. Now, the name is small, but this is the longest tube of the alimentary canal, longest part of the alimentary canal. And if it is uncoiled, then its length is 6 meters. Okay. Now, the food which is coming from the stomach is again partially digested, partially churned food, which is coming from the stomach reaches in the small intestine. Fine. But the entry and exit of the food from the stomach is guarded by some special type of muscles which are called the sphincter muscles. Okay? Sphincter muscles are present at the entry point of stomach as well as at the exit point of stomach. And these sphincter muscles will control the entry and the exit of food from the stomach. They pass small portions of food to the small intestine. Okay. Now, the food which is coming from the stomach is acidic in nature because HCl acid was present in stomach. So, the food which is coming is also acidic in nature. But in the small intestine, the medium is alkaline. Okay. For digestion, alkaline medium is required. So, now the first requirement is to convert this acidic food into alkaline nature. Okay. Now, who is going to do this work? Okay. Now here the role of liver starts. Okay, liver is also a gland. This is the largest gland of our body. You can see in the picture here the red color gland shown. This is liver. So the acidic food becomes alkaline by the bile juice secreted by the liver. Liver secretes a juice which is called the bile juice. And this bile juice comes in the small intestine with the help of a tube-like structure which is called bile duct. Okay, and before coming to small intestine, this bile is stored in the gallbladder. Then from the gallbladder, it is released into the small intestine. Okay, and what is the function of bile here? The function of bile is emulsification of fats. Emulsification of fats mean conversion of fats into fatty acids. Fatty acid is the simpler form of fats. Okay, so bile converts fats into fatty acids. Now let's move on to the next organ. This is pancreas. One gland we have studied, that is liver. Now let us study the next one, that is pancreas. Okay, pancreas is an exocrine as well as an endocrine gland. Okay, now exocrine glands are which glands? Which secrete their secretions into a tube-like structure, like salivary gland. But endocrine glands are those glands which secrete their secretions directly into the blood. So pancreas act both as exocrine as well as endocrine gland. Okay. Now here what we have to study is that pancreas secrete pancreatic juice. Okay. And that pancreatic juice consists of some of the enzymes. Let us study those enzymes. Okay. The enzymes which are present in pancreatic juice are, first one is amylase. This is pancreatic amylase. Now this amylase always works on starch. Okay. So this amylase will convert starch to sugars. Lipase, second enzyme present is lipase. This lipase will convert lipids into its simple form. And the third enzyme present is trypsin. Trypsin will convert proteins into amino acids. Okay. Now, along with this pancreatic juice, pancreas also secrete two hormones which are insulin and glucagon, which we'll study in the further chapters ahead. Now, let us move on to the next important part. That is small intestine. Now, we have discussed that in the small intestine, bile reaches, pancreatic juice also reaches to function. Apart from these two juices which are coming from the two other glands, small intestine itself also releases one juice which is called intestinal juice. Okay, and this intestinal juice also consists of a mixture of enzymes which continue further digestion of the food. The remaining proteins, remaining fats, remaining starch, remaining lipids will convert into their simpler form in the small intestine with the help of the intestinal juice. Okay. Now, you can say here one statement that the digestion ends in the small intestine. Okay. Digestion started in the mouth and digestion ends in the small intestine. Remember it. Then, now the digestion is over. Now, after digestion, the next step which comes in nutrition is absorption. Okay. So let us see what is the provision for absorption now. Now, walls of the small intestine, they consist of some finger-like projections. You can see in the picture here, finger-like projections, finger-like structures. They are these finger-like structures are present on the walls of the intestine, and these structures are called villi. Okay. Now, villi has two important characteristics. One is that this villi, these finger-like projections, they are richly supplied by blood capillaries. They have a rich supply of the blood capillaries because who is going to absorb the digested food? Naturally, blood. So the supply of blood is essential here. Okay. So first character is that villi is richly supplied by blood capillaries, and the second one is that they increase the surface area. They are small finger like projections, so these type of structures increase the surface area for absorption. Fine. Then villi are the place where digested food get absorbed. Villi is the actual place. We say that absorption occurs in small intestine, but what is the specific site? The specific site is villi. Villi is the place where the digested food get absorbed in the blood capillaries. Okay, then that blood will circulate the digested food to all the parts of the cells where the food will burn in presence of oxygen and the energy will be released. Fine. Let's move on to the next slide and discuss about large intestine. Okay, large intestine is, now the small intestine is followed by large intestine, which is shorter but wider than small intestine. The name here is large, but in length it is smaller than the small intestine. But why we are calling it as large? Because its diameter is more than the small intestine. Okay. Now, digested food is absorbed in the blood. What about the undigested food? So the undigested food is now is now pushed on to the large intestine, okay, where it is collected in the form of feces. Now, the function of the large intestine here is that large intestine absorbs the water. Please listen it carefully. Large intestine absorbs the water and salts from the undigested food. Okay, and it also secretes mucus for lubrication. So, the undigested food remains little moist. Okay, it should not dry. So, mucus is also secreted by the walls of the large intestine to lubricate the undigested food, and after that the undigested food is thrown out of the body through the anal opening. Okay, so this is the complete digest description of the human digestive system. The last topic left is assimilation. Now absorption has occurred in the small intestine, and the next step of nutrition is assimilation, right? So assimilation is nothing but the utilization of the digested food, right? So the digested food once goes into the digested food once goes into the blood is carried to each and every cell of the body, where it is burned in presence of oxygen and energy is released. So this utilization of the food is a part of nutrition and is called the assimilation. Utilization of the food, release of energy is called assimilation. Okay, so we have main 5 steps of nutrition. First one is ingestion, then digestion, then absorption, then assimilation, and then finally the egestion, that is removal of the undigested food. Okay. Now let's move on to the summary part. What we have studied in the video session today is nutrition in humans. We have studied the complete human digestive system, alimentary canal, then what are digestive glands. We have studied 3 digestive glands here: salivary glands, liver, and pancreas. Okay. Then the various components of the alimentary canal. Alimentary canal along with the digestive glands forms the human digestive system. And then finally we have discussed what is assimilation, how assimilation occurs in the human body. Okay. So that's all for the video session today. Stay home, stay safe, and till then goodbye.